So, do you think Mr. and Mrs. Twit will get their bird pie?
Oh, I don't know.
Let's read to find out. Mr. and Mrs. Twit go off to buy guns. The next morning, when Mr. Twit came out with his huge basket, not a single bird was sitting on either the monkey cage or the big dead tree. They were all perched happily on the roof of Mr. Twit's house. The roly-poly bird was up there as well, and the monkeys were in the cage, and the whole lot of them were hooting with laughter at Mr. Twit. Good old time. I'll wipe that silly laugh off your beaks, Mr. Twit screamed at the birds. I'll get you next time, you filthy, feathery frumps. I'll wring your necks, the whole lot of you, and have you bubbling in the pot for bird pie before this day is out.
How are you going to do that?
Asked Mrs. Twit, who had come outside to see what all the noise was about.
I won't have you smearing sticky glue all over the roof of our house.
Mr. Twit went very close to Mrs. Twit and lowered his voice so that neither the birds nor the monkeys should hear. I've got an idea, a great idea, he said. We'll both go into town right away and we'll buy a gun each. How's that?
Brilliant!
Cried Mrs. Twit, grinning and showing her long yellow teeth.
We'll buy those big shotguns that spray out 50 bullets or more with each bang.
Exactly, said Mr. Twit. Lock up the house while I go and make sure the monkeys are safely shut away. Mr. Twit went over to the monkey cage. Attention! He barked in his fearsome monkey trainer's voice. Upside down, all of you, and jump to it. One on top of the other. Quick, get on with it, or you'll feel Mrs. Twit stick across your backsides. Obediently, the poor monkeys stood on their hands and clambered, one on top of the other, with Muggle Wump at the bottom, and the smallest child at the very top. Now stay there till we come back, Mr. Twit ordered. Don't you dare move and don't overbalance. When we return in 2 or 3 hours' time, I shall expect to find you all in exactly the same position as you are now. You understand? With that, Mr. Twit marched away. Mrs. Twit went with him, and the monkeys were left alone with the birds.
Mugglewump has an idea. As soon as Mr. and Mrs. Twit had disappeared down the road, the monkeys all flipped back onto their feet and the right way up. Quick, get the key! Mugglewump called out to the roly-poly bird, who was still sitting on the roof of the house.
What key? Shouted the roly-poly bird.
The key to the door of our cage, cried Mugglewump. It's hanging on a nail in the workshed. That's where he always puts it. The roly-poly bird flew down and came back with the key in his beak. Mugglewump reached a hand through the bars of the cage and took the key. He put it in the lock and turned it. The door opened. All 4 monkeys leapt out together. We're free! Cried the 2 little ones. Oh, where shall we go, Daddy? Woo, woo, woo. Where shall we hide? Don't get excited, said Mugglewump. Calm down, everybody. Before we escape from this beastly place, we have one more important thing to do. What? They asked him. We're going to turn those terrible twits upside down.
We're going to do what?
They cried.
You must be joking, Dad.
I'm not joking, Mugglewump said. We're going to turn both Mr. and Mrs. Twit upside down with their legs in the air.
Don't be ridiculous,
the roly-poly bird said.
How can we possibly turn those two maggoty old monsters upside down?
We can, cried Mugglewump. We are going to make them stand on their heads for hours and hours, perhaps forever. Let them see what it feels like for a change.
Ooh, how?
Said the roly-poly bird.
Just tell me how.
Mugglewump laid his hand on one side, and a tiny twinkling little smile touched the corners of his mouth. Now one again, he said, but not very often. I have a brilliant idea. This is one of them. Follow me, my friend, follow me. He scampered off toward the house, and the three other monkeys and the roly-poly bird went after him. Buckets and paintbrushes, cried Mugglewump. That's what we want next. There are plenty in the work shed. Hurry up, everybody. Get a bucket and a paintbrush. Inside Mr. Twits' work shed, there was an enormous barrel of hug-tight sticky glue, the stuff he used for catching birds. Fill your buckets, Mugglewump ordered. We are now going to the big house. Mrs. Twit had hidden the key to the front door under the mat, and Mugglewump had seen her doing it, so it was easy for them to get in. In they went, all four monkeys with their buckets of sticky glue. Then came the roly-poly bird flying in after them, with a bucket in his beak and a brush in his claw.
The great glue painting begins.
This is the living room,
announced Mugglewump.
The grand and glorious living room where those two fearful, frumpious freaks eat bird pie every week for supper.
Oh, please don't mention bird pie again, said the roly-poly bird. It gives me the shudders.
We mustn't waste time, cried Mugglewump. Hurry up. Now the first thing is this. I want everyone to paint sticky glue all over the ceiling. Cover it all. Smear it in every corner.
Over the ceiling? They cried. Why the ceiling?
Never mind why,
shouted Mugglewump.
Just do as you're told and don't argue.
But how do we get up there? They asked. We can't reach.
Monkeys can reach anywhere,
shouted Mugglewump. He was in a frenzy of excitement now, as you can see. Waving his paintbrush and his bucket and leaping about all over the room.
Come on! Jump on the table, stand on the chairs. Hop on each other's shoulders. Roly-poly can do it fine. Don't stand there gaping. We have to hurry. Don't you understand? Those terrible twits. We'll be back any moment, and this time they'll have guns. Get on with it, for heaven's sakes. Get on with it.
And so the great glue painting of the ceiling began. All the other birds who had been sitting on the roof flew in to help, carrying paintbrushes in their claws and beaks. There were buzzards, wild ducks, woodpeckers, magpies, rooks, ravens, and many more. Everyone was splashing away like mad, and with so many helpers, the job was soon finished. I can hear the fluttering in the feathers now. This is a good place to stop. To be continued.